Good morning. Very good morning to all of you. I'm so sorry I logged in late. I got stuck into something else. So, yeah, a good morning. Uh, so guys, I hope everyone has logged in with your computers so that we can continue the exercise, whatever we were doing yesterday, and you will have better confidence or you'll feel better once you complete it. So, before we start that exercise, I would just like to recap date time handling because that is also we are going to apply in our in our assignment. So, the class which is mainly we discussed yesterday the class Java util date. You remember there are only two non-deprecated constructors. So deprecated means they are on the verge of getting obsolete. So in the next Java version, they may not be supported. So you should never use, as a good developer, any deprecated APIs. So here, what are the constructors? One is the default constructor and one is the millisecond based constructor. So if I use this constructor, this date class instance, what it will hold? The first constructor I'm asking you. If I use date d1 equal to new date, so what it will hold is the current date. So here it holds current date up to, okay, with what precision? Millisecond precision. Okay, so that's your first one. And when you use the second one, date and long millisecond, what is the value of the, what is the meaning of this millisecond? This indicates number of milliseconds elapsed after epoch. So here, absolutely epoch with milliseconds. So here creates a date class instance with set to the date elapsed. Yeah, set to date, which is specified milliseconds elapsed after the epoch. And what is that epoch date, which we have it as a standard is? That is your 1st January 1970 with your current time zone, specific time zone. And then you have seen the methods of the date class. If you say date class toString, what all it will print? Will it print only date information or the time and the time zone information also? What does the date classes toString return? Date information or date and time, both information? Answer is both, date and time. You have seen the methods before and after. So here, if I ask you, D1 dot, suppose, okay, what is D1 and what is D2? There are two date classes instances. Imagine that D1 and D2 are references pointing to two date class instance. So when I say D1 dot before D2, anyone wants to tell me when this method will return true? When will D1 dot before D2 method returns true? If the date wise D1 is actually earlier before D2. So if D1 is date and time wise before D2, because it checks this date before D2. So what it does internally is it finds out what is D1 holding, how many milliseconds after the epoch, how much, what is D2 holding, and compares the two. Okay, so that is your sorry, D1 dot before D2. Opposite method is after. So if D1 is after D2, time wise, date wise after D2, then it will return true. Then you have seen there is a comparable interface, and comparable interface has one method compare to. So when you say date class has implemented comparable, it has of course implemented the method compare to. So anyone wants to tell me, when you say D1 dot compare to D2, what are the three possible values it can return? It can return a -1. So anyone wants to tell me when What is the -1 indicates? It means is D1 is before D2. If it returns 0, what does it imply? It means D1, there is an equals method. Date class has overridden the equals method to replace reference equality by content equality. So when you say D1 dot equals D2, that is, whenever D1 and D2 are holding the same one. Okay, so when D1 dot equals D2 returns true, your compare to method returns 0. And when it will return +1, when D1, if D1 and D1 dot compare to D2 returns 1, what does it indicate? D1 is after D2. Absolutely right. So here D1 is after D2. So these are the couple of simple methods you have seen. But as you know, open the Java docs. When I say open the Java docs, I hope you are ready. So here that index.html from the docs API, there's an index page. So open that. And here you can search in this for date and choose java.util.date. And if you look at all these constructors, there was one constructor, date with string, which could pass this, but now it is no longer there. It has been deprecated and they have given you, it has been replaced by date formats parse method. So what is my point here? If you are accepting, let's say date of birth, DOB is for date of birth of a customer, of a user, or your account transaction date, or yesterday we were talking about employee join date. Anyone wants to tell me what are the steps? So how do you, what do you say? How do you work with this if you want to store the date of birth, which is going to be coming from client? Anyone wants to tell me the steps? What is the first step here? Create the simple date format instance. So here, create SDF. So tell me, how many instances of SDF you require? Do you require it one for customer or do you require exactly once? So create a single instance, okay, of SDF. So typically you can create it, you can tag it as static because one simple date format instance can be shared across multiple customers or multiple users or whatever. So we write it typically as static, and which is the best way to initialize it? And initialize it using static initializer block. Since you have now written the code with me, I hope you are understanding what is it I'm saying. So as an example, suppose you want to store the date also and time also. So what it will be? You have a package to import java.text. Java.text has this date format, simple date format, parse exception, everything. So you can say in your static initializer block, equal to new simple date format. And now suppose I want to have the date and time. So there are predefined characters. So suppose I can say here, and then suppose I want to have the timing part also. So here it is hours, lowercase m and ss. So when user gives you this, user supplies you, suppose date and time, transaction date, transaction time if you want. So here you know, this is 2-digit. You can give a single digit also fine. This is month in a digit, 1 to 12. This is year in 4-digit format. Even if you give 0, it will then, if you say just 910091, it will take. And then you have hours, minutes, and seconds. So that will be the first step. What is the next step? Next step is you require two things. One is parsing and one is formatting. So for parsing, when I say parsing, which to which conversion are we talking about? Which conversion? From what to what? The text to date, or yeah, text means string. So let's be clear. So you have a string coming from client using that scanner sc.next, and that gets converted to date. So which API we use? We use the parse function which is inherited from date format. So I'll write the left hand side. Date d1 is equal to, you have got this SDF. You can import it from wherever, sdf.parse, and here you can pass the string form of the date. Okay, or I can say date string. And the date string is nothing but sc.next. Is everyone clear so far? 100% clear? I'm just revising and we'll start into coding in 2 minutes. And the last step, I'm not saying last or first, anytime you want to print the date. So if you simply call the toString, here, this is fine because I have accepted date and time. But in most of the time, how to get formatted date? You know the method. Which is the method? I will write the left hand side. I'll say string formatted date. Yes, which is the method you should use? You know the method. So you have got simple date format, dot format, and this time in goes the date. So as you can see, this is also an easy one. So now this is enough of a revision. Right now, our focus is to continue with the assignment. I'm not saying all this because some of them are really similar and all that. So we will pick up important ones and we'll complete. So open your Eclipse, please. Okay. And what we will do is we'll just, okay, you can say close. I mean, Control Shift W, close everything. Don't make a copy. We are going to continue in the same code. I told you that we'll just try to finish more of it in a interactive manner. So open, I have called it as a D9 lab, and here I had uploaded it also on Google Drive. So everyone must have either your own working copy or the one which I have shared, whichever you can take. So start opening from the way we had developed. So here, open the employee class. This is just to reconnect so that you don't feel confused. So when you open that, import list, everyone knows java.text SDF and java.util. There won't be any other import required. The keystroke you can use is Control Shift O. So that will remove unnecessary unwanted imports automatically, or it will fix your imports. So I think people already understand all of this. Only change, the new thing is the date. So join date will be of the type java.util.date. And like just now we revised, since you require a parser, you require a formatter, right? So you require only one copy. That is why we have made it a static. And the best way to initialize static data members is through the static initializer block. But if you see in exam and all the code where they have initialized SDF equal to new simple date format, that is also working code. But this is a better design. Then we had generated, at least I had generated the constructor to initialize all the complete state of the employee. We had overridden the toString to replace hash code returning version by the actual details. But now there is some change. So here, when I say join date is equal to, and when I have given the pattern as day, month, and year, can you tell me what will this print? Only that date as per that pattern, or date and time both? Answer is only the formatted date. Everyone gets me? If you had said here plus join date, then it would have called date classes toString and all 0 time and all would have been printed. And then we are adding the salary. And currently we have not used this method equals at all. Anyone wants to tell me? Okay, before I ask you my question, you know why we override equals method? Because if you don't override it, you will inherit it from the object class. And object class goes by what? Reference equality or contents equality. Object classes equals method goes by reference equality. And practically speaking, primary key means the unique ID can be totally, is something business related. For example, for employee, it could be employee ID. Or if you make it as a multi-field key, it could be employee ID and department ID, or employee ID and first name and the last name and the department ID, whatever. Okay, so that is why we override equals. But when you are overriding the method, what is the rule? Access specifier same or wider, return type same or subtype, but there is no subtyping for primitive types, same method name, same argument. This is only for your debugging, whether your method is getting called. If you don't do the instance of checking, and if user, while calling this method, when I say user, I don't mean the end user, I mean the driver code, the tester code. If the tester code passes something other than employee, and you try to downcast, which is the exception you will get? Which exception you will get is class cast exception, very right. So to avoid that, we use instance of checking. And this is a simple one because other things are little complex. I kept the primary key. Primary key means unique ID fields. PKs for primary key are the same. And if either you're not getting the employee or IDs are not matching, returning false. So now answer my next question. Have we so far used this equals method anywhere? Have we used it yesterday? No. I'm talking about this. Somebody said yes. Answer is no. I have not used it anywhere. When are we going to use it, or what are we going to use it for? Look at this and tell me. This is the objective we are solving. Anyone wants to tell me that this is where the equals method will get used? This is the objective in front of you. Okay, don't just say employee ID. Tell me clearly to find out no duplication. Okay, so whenever we write a validator, as in validation method for checking the uniqueness of employee ID, of course, we'll be using this method. You got me? So that is where it is going to be used. So one at a time. So now going ahead. So this is, I think, employee class is clear. Open the next class which we have developed is your custom exception. So you must have realized writing custom exception just takes you half a minute. So here, this is optional. Whether you suppress the warnings or you ignore the warnings, that is fine. Anytime you are creating an exception class, it has to be under the throwable hierarchy. So throwable, your error, exception, runtime exception are all valid. But since we wanted to make it as a checked exception, we make it as extends exception. And this is where your error message is initialized by calling superclass constructor. Everyone completely clear so far? No issues, no ambiguities? Okay, so now listen to the utils. So instead of tightly coupling means keeping everything together in the tester, we had written a separate utility class called as validation rules. And yesterday we could just finish the first one. Okay, so now take a look at this rule. So here, this is a public static method. Public because it will be called from another package. Static because your caller, that is tester, doesn't have to create the instance of it and the name of the method. So in goes the email, whichever user passes. And what is this method going to do? It will return you the validated email if the validation rule succeeds. Otherwise, it will throw the custom exception. And that custom exception, is this method handling it or is it delegating it to the caller? Is it handling the method or delegating? Answer is delegating. So tell me, if you remove this throws clause, comment this throws clause, will you get compiler error? Answer is yes. And why? Because compiler forces the handling of the checked exception and we have written it as a checked exception. So this involves little bit of string handling methods. So if your email ID is containing @ and ending with .com, then I'm taking it as a correct email ID. So returning the validated email ID. Otherwise, if it is I mean, if it is not having either @ or .com or both are missing, then who is throwing the exception to whom? This validation method is throwing the exception, as in this is a user defined exception. Programmer is throwing the exception. So this is about your validation method. Still clear? Is everyone clear here so far? And then we wrote that tester, which is by now you should be familiar with it. So there was only one change in the tester. We added a try catch block. So start looking at it line by line. Here also, what you can do is press the key Control, Shift, and O. So it will remove all the unwanted, unnecessary imports. So some of you were confused yesterday regarding import static. So tell me, if I comment this import static, will I be still able to access this SDF, simple date format from the employee class? Will I be able to access it? Answer is yes. But will I be able to access it directly, such as SDF? Answer is no. So what is it every time I'll have to write? How will I have to write? Yeah, so employee.sdf. Or same question, if you comment this line number 5, I'll still be able to call validate email, but how? Everywhere I'll have to say validation rules dot validate email. So learn import static syntax. So start with import static. Then give the fully qualified class name whose static methods you want to call. And if you have multiple such functionalities, say dot star. If there is one function, one method you want to call, dot method name. Okay. So here I'm talking in my line numbers. I don't know your line numbers where it is. So line number 17 opens the scanner in an auto-closable manner, try with resources. Means what? Whenever you are reaching the end of try with resources block, JVM will automatically call scanner.close. So you don't have to write a finally block or to explicitly clean up the resources, close the resources. That's your first line. Then as usual, you are asking user how many employees, the array size basically, and the array is getting created. All clear so far? No ambiguity, no question? Is it all clear so far? Okay, so now come down. This is also standard. I just want to loop till user says stop the application. And since it is an array fixed size, for checking the boundary conditions and all that, I need to maintain a counter. Now see the looping structure. Outermost here is while not exit. This is where we show the menu. Menu means option. And here, why did we add a nested try block? Okay, let me say it this way. If you remove this nested means outer try with resources already there. If you remove this inner try, what will happen? Okay, I'll ask you specific compiler error. No. You did not understand. If I say try, of course, when I say try, I mean try and catch both, Prashant. So what will happen? Yes, in case of invalid inputs, the code will abort. Why? Because see this. Suppose you have got an error in validate email. So that validate email method is throwing the exception. So the exception is delegated to the tester. And if there is no inner try catch block, what will happen is JVM will search for the matching catch class, doesn't find it. JVM applies this. What is it called? Yeah, I think you meant compiler error, but here if you say throws, that compiler error will go and the code will simply abort. So tell me, in case of invalid inputs, do you want to give a chance to retry? Or do you want to continue with the code or do you want to abort the code? Answer is you want to continue with the code, right? So of course, that is why we had written. So arrange the loops correctly. Outermost while, inner try catch. Innermost will be your switch case. Okay, so let's start solving. So imagine that there is enough space. That is initially counter is 0. So here we are asking the user for all the inputs. Guys, make a correction. Correction means give more information. So what is it? We have got slash, I guess. I'm just checking the pattern. Yeah, day slash month slash year. You should always be, right, you should write always the user-friendly code. Otherwise, how do you know? How does user know what pattern you are expecting? So please add day, month, and year. And then is the important line. So currently, which is the only field we have validated yesterday? Tell me which is the only field, only data member, email. So rest of it I am taking as it is. That is soon going to change. So one is your employee ID, first name, last name, validate email. And what was that? Yeah, department ID, etc. But now when you say join date, you know that join date is going to come to you in a string form. So that is where we use this parse method. In goes the string form of the date and it tries to, convert it into date class instance. In case of error, it throws a checked exception called as parse exception. So anytime there is a validation problem or the parsing problem, tell me the line number where the code will go. Will the try block continue or will it get aborted? Of course, try block get aborted. It reaches the catch. It will display the error message. Some of you are asking, were not sure about this. So tell me, listen to the question properly. If suppose it was a invalid email, or let's say it was a some other error, then in that case, what will happen? So many inputs user has given. So where are these inputs? These are pending, kept in the scanner's buffer. Are you getting me? So if you don't clear off, if you don't read them off, you saw yesterday, you might get into infinite loop. So which is the method to read off all the tokens till the new line? Answer is sc.next line. These are all the standard techniques, standard tricks we always do. So here, before it goes to the next iteration of while, you are reading off all the inputs so that next time you go and you ask the user, enter that, what is that? Choose the choice or enter the option. It is all clear and the code will wait there. So tell me, are you clear with why we wrote this? Simple thing is otherwise you might get into infinite loop. If you give the correct inputs, you won't. But the moment you give the wrong inputs and some of the inputs are pending, kept in the scanner's buffer, 100% you will get that. So that was your inner. Then is your end of while loop. Then it is end of try with resources. Main method gets over and class is over. So this is what we had stopped at yesterday. Is there anyone, does anyone want to ask any question other than what I explained? Because now we are going to add to it. So like yesterday, I'm going to give you some 5-10 minutes. I told you it's like a hybridization. So here, since there are no questions, let's solve. Discuss with me and we'll do it together. So what is the next thing? I'm taking the simplest first. Then we will go for the more complex ones. So here, let's not waste time. So here, let's not do both. So let's say we want to validate the last name. And what is the rule? The last name must be minimum 4, maximum 15. Okay. So we are validating the last name of user. Anyone wants to tell me, is the requirement clear? Yes or no? So here, validate, you can, okay, anyway, I was going to say only write once, but it's the same one. So we can write both. So if you want to validate the first name and last name, can you tell me, where do you want to write it? In employee, in this custom exception, validation rule, or test employee organization? Of course, validation rule. Okay, so open validation rule, right? And here, I have given you today 4 and 15. But tomorrow things can change. So don't hard code them in the method. Can you declare them as constants in this class? Of course, yes. So start creating constants, min length and max length. So public static int, sorry, it's a constant, public static final int. Create it as minimum length of characters, minimum length, And again, I'm suggesting best ways to do it with initialize it with the static initializer block. And similarly, like other day I had given minimum speed, maximum speed, that way. Okay? Do it parallelly. Don't wait. Of course, you will get compiler error because here it is a final and you have not initialized. So add a static initializer block as per the standard suggestions. And here you can give the min length equal to 4 and max length equal to 15. Done? Okay. So now I'm not going to write it because otherwise like it is like a dictation. So here I'll just give you the comment. Add static method to validate, let's say, first name. Okay. So add a static method to validate the first name. And what it should do, in case of success, return the validated first name. Otherwise, this is OW is otherwise, throw custom exception with a suitable message. Proper message. So this is the requirement. So I'm waiting here for 5 minutes. You write the method. In 5 minutes, I will join you. Okay, people have already written it. Yes, you are right. And will not work, by the way. Okay, you are saying return. Yeah, fine, fine. You are doing the valid case. Yes, it is fine. So some of you are already written it, but I'll just wait for others. I'm checking whatever you are specifying. First name and this. Yeah. So guys, I would say this. Why don't we combine that? Okay, I'll take it back. Let's not combine. Let's do it only for first name. You can combine it for first name and last name also. If name dot length is greater than min length and it is less, return name, yes, you can. It's right. Rohit, Pushkaraj, all of it. So some of you have written it. So let me start writing with you all. Public static, the return type string, because it has to return a validated. Siddharth, I'm checking yours. Yeah, right. So here, public static string, and here you can give validate. I'm just calling it as name. And here you can supply your first name, right? And don't blindly do things, So done, Avinash, very good. I'm just catching up with you all. So here you make the check. So you can check it either way. So in short, you can go for the healthy condition or you can go for the error condition also. So here I'm writing it as the error condition. Either way, it doesn't matter. So if the first name is less than, first name dot length, you know the length method. If it is less than minimum length, it's an error. You have written it for the valid condition. I'm showing you with the invalid condition. That's why, or if first name dot length is greater than max length. Okay. So this is a definitely, if it is less than minimum length or it is greater than the max length, it is definitely error. So here we should throw the exception. You should throw the exception. So throw new employee handling exception and give the suitable message invalid first name. And like some of you have said, must be minimum. Okay, you can give that. Must be minimum 4 or whatever. Minimum size must be within the range. I'll not so right. I was going to say min length and all. Must be within the range of 4 to 50. You can decide this. I was going to say that don't hard code it here, but too much of a thing. So here, you know the standard statement. Do you want to put it in a try catch block and do it at the method level handling, or do you want to delegate? Delegation is better because then I have a centralized single try catch block. So here you add throws employee handling exception. Okay. And then if the control comes here, what does it imply? This means valid name. So here we can just return the validated first name. So I'm waiting here for 2 minutes so that everyone catches up. And I'm sending you this also. You can write it in your own manner. Those who had shared the code had sent me the code. They had first checked for the correct condition. Here, I prefer doing it most of the times the error condition because then I don't have to write else. So, but like I said, it is totally up to you. Whichever style you want, you can use. So I'm sending you this in case anyone needs it. But as much as possible, try to write it on your own. And if I make a mistake in logic while writing, do point it out. Waiting for a minute. Okay, guys, have you completed this or does anyone want me to wait? It's a continuation of your lab session. So anyone wants me to wait, just tell me on the chat, wait, and I can wait for you. You finished? Okay. So now this method doesn't get called automatically. So you'll have to call it. Everyone understands it, right? So here, go to the tester. And anyone wants to tell me where I should call it from? You know the answer. So here, first is employee ID. Still, we have not validated. So here, the second one. So here, what is it you will write? Here, now, okay. First is fix your static import. So now tell me, listen to this because some of you are confused on this. So from this utils.validation rules, which are static methods you want to call? Validate email as well as which one? Validate name. So instead of writing it separately, can I say here star? Star means all. So just make it a star. So you will be able to access all static members directly from this class. Okay. So here you can say, where is that? So now you can say, just say validate and say control space. You'll get validate name. And here you pass sc.next. Are you understanding? Once you have the basic structure ready, adding more things becomes completely easy. So what is it we have validated is the first name. Completed. Have you called that method from the tester? You tell me whenever you finish. I'll keep this. I'll show you. I'll give you this case one in the break. In case anyone needs it. If you don't need it, you ignore. This is your complete case one. Do let me know whenever you have done it. You just have to call the method from the tester. You please let me know whenever you have done it so I can say more things. I can take you to the next one. Okay, people are saying done. Abhinav is saying done. Yes, I'll ask you the opposite question. Anyone wants me to wait? Then of course I will wait. Okay, yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Fine. You let me know, Girish, Shubham, whenever you are done, and I can continue. So I hope you got it. You just make it as import static utils.validation rules.start. So you'll start getting all the methods with control space and call for the first name. First is your employee ID. After that, validate name and rest of it. Validate whatever email and all is the same. The name starts with 0. What do you mean by that, Viraj? You mean index starts from 0, right? Yeah. So 4 to 15. Yes, you can change that to 3 to 14 letters. It's not important. Index starts from 0. The answer to your question is that. Yes. So the length, when I say length means, Viraj, number of characters in a string. That way it is. So what will be the string length of hello? 4 or 5? What will be the string dot length? Hello dot length? 4 or 5? It is 5. Yeah. And the character at the 0 index, dot char at 0 will be H. We covered that yesterday. Okay. Have you finished this, guys? Can I move on? Done? Okay. Girish, you were also saying to wait. Anyone? Can I continue, please, Girish? Tell me. If you're still not finished, I can wait. You're having error? Okay, so those individual error handlings and all, I will do it in the later session, in the actual lab session. So checkpoint is, it should be, you should have this import static utils.validation rules.start. So that just check. Oh, there was a lag. Okay. Yeah. I got it, guys. So don't, there is sometimes a glitch. I'll repeat what I said. I was talking to Girish only. Here, check Girish whether you have added the static keyword. Yeah, I understood that. Now am I audible? Am I audible now? Yeah. So I'm repeating what I said. Here, check Girish, is this method static? Have you made it as static? First check. Second check is, have you done the import static properly? Import static utils.validation rules. Second check. And the third thing you just had to call is that method validate name. So guys, since it is not a pure lab session, whatever errors you are having, we will individually looking into it, means it will cause a lot of delay. So you continue coding, guys. In a proper lab session of afternoon, we will look at individual and help you. Or in the break, we will also mention that. We will, if I give time, third check. Which third check, Girish? Which third check? Girish, I'll at least continue with the coding because it is slowing down the everyone's this. I will look at it later, whenever in the lab session or some later time. So third check I have not looked at also. The first is only one we have done is email and the first name. So let me continue because majority, I have to go by the majority. So now Let me ask you guys, what is it we have validated? First name or last name? Nobody else is getting the lag, Rishikesh. So there must be error in your side, some network error. First name. So I want to now validate the last name also. Okay. So here, isn't it dumb to write another method? You know, one is validate first name, one is validate last name. So can I combine it into one? Can I again call this method here, that validate name? Okay, is it reusable? See, you should always write the API which can be reused. But here, this is the message which is going to be the different one. So here, what is the only thing you can add is what is going to differ in this message? See, this check will be the same. Anyone wants to tell me what will be the different in this message? Which one? What will change? No. What will change precisely? Invalid first name, that first name should be replaced by what? The last name. Got it? So now, anyone wants to tell me, how do I manage it? Are you understanding my question? Guys, this is the 10th day of Java. Exactly. Add the argument. Very right, Yash. So you have to understand all of this. So see the changes. Start doing the changes with me. Along with string first name, let us add the string message argument. Add it. Do it with me. So how many arguments now we are passing to the method? One is the first name. So don't call it as the first name because it gives you wrong this. So simply call it as name. See, you will say what is in a variable name. It tells you things. So it can be either first name or validate first or last name. So here return first or last name. So simply say name. Of course, make all the changes to that, to name, because it is the same boundaries. If there were different boundaries, I would have to pass that also. And here, after invalid, close it and take this message. And that message will contain either the first or the last, and then continue with it again. And here, return the validated name, which could be either a first name or a last name. You should have, what I thought is after spending time with you is, you have syntactical issues or, implementation issues. So trying this. So one method can be reused to validate your first name as well as last name. So check what all I changed. I changed the variable name to name, passed the string message. This check is the same. I just changed the variable names. And here I'm taking that message and then the rest of it is the same. I'll send this method. If anyone is having problems in their code, I will look at it later. Because if I start sharing the screen, it will go out of hand. Okay, do let me know when you make the changes. I've sent you the reference code also. So whenever I send you, you can just download this. Done with the changes, Kankit? Very good. If you get the feel of it, you will definitely manage. Okay. I'm waiting for another minute. Okay, so some of you have done it. But now, of course, your other code will break. So go to the tester and tell me what is the modification you'll have to do here. Yes, please. You will have to pass a message. So for validating first name, here, what is the message you will pass? First. Because that's you wanted to have invalid first name. And now guys, see the reusability. Here, you are not validating the last name at all. So you can say validate name again. And here, what will change? Change this to last. This is how people write larger code. Reusability in the API. So now you should have the method, same method, parameterize it. So you don't have to write the code twice. You don't have to write two methods, validate first name, validate last name. We could combine it in one. I'll send you this line also. Whatever changes I'm making, I'm sending you. Yes, Yogesh, you were right. Just now I saw your answer. I'll wait here again for a minute. I remember Girish saying that he was getting some error. So continue, guys, continue coding. We will look at all your errors much later in a proper lab session, actual lab session. You let me know when you make the changes. So validate name, this is your first name. I mean the user supplied name, and the message is first. Same method, you are reading the next token and passing the message as last. Do let me know when you have done it. It's just adjusting the round brackets and all properly. So I can see 8 of you done. I'll wait for more. SC.next line, it is showing error. SC cannot be resolved. Okay, you have a curly braces, you have a scope issue. Check your curly braces, check your scope. Outermost, somebody said scanner cannot be resolved. So this outermost is here. That is why I suggest whoever is having the problem, I did not read the name, start labeling. The last one is class over. Second last is main over. Third last is try with resources over. Fourth last is end of while. And before that, you should have sc.next line. Okay, why don't I send you? Somebody's having a problem. Somebody's having a, okay, you got that, Kunal? Okay, fine. Aren't there two sc.next? Here, so who asked me that sc.next? Here there is a first sc.next. Here there is a second sc.next. It's not complicated at all. There are two sc.next. What is your question? Here there is one and here there is another one. So it is all fine. Okay, finish it in the fast manner. Otherwise, you know, we won't be able to go ahead at all. I've written all both correctly. You just check the code. Okay. So now I'm going to discuss the next, what is it called, validation, and give you 5 minutes to sort it out. Okay. So here I'm going for still simple ones. Later I will tell you, I'll tell you the unique ID base we are going to solve last. Okay. So now let us focus on your department ID. Okay. So pause your work and check. So what is the rule I have given? The departments which I'm having in my organization are, suppose these: R&D, finance, marketing, and HR. You got that? So these are the current departments. So whenever user enters the department, it should be one of these. So tell me, how will you apply this rule? Anyone wants to tell me? How will you do this? You understood my question? I'm asking you to write a next validation rule. So open your validation rule. Let me see what people are saying. So people are saying contains. Okay, contains, equals is just fine. So, but you will have to make checks and the code will become very big. Is if it is containing this, or if it is containing department ID, R&D, or finance, or HR. Easier way is switch casing. Okay, so here I'm going to show you the easiest way naturally. Open validation rules, please. And first write a comment. So add a static method to validate department. It's not a department ID, actually it's a department name. So you know the standard practice by now. So here you can say public static. Let it return the string containing the validated department ID. Here you can give the validation rule name, validate department, and here you can pass the department name. Just reach here and I'll give you a clue and I'll give you 2-3 minutes to work on that clue. Of course, you will later require to add this, what is it called? Throws and all. So everyone has understood the statement. Enums, where we have started enum, Yogesh? Enum is today's topic. So this is all yesterday's stuff. So here in Java, you can also add the switch argument as the string. Okay. So here you can do it with contains with 4 checks, 4 or 5. But if I change the number of departments to let's say 10, so you'll have to add that contains or equals 10 times. So instead, do the switch casing. Has everyone reached here? So do the switch casing. Just say SW and control space. And here, what will be the key? Anyone wants to answer? What will be the key of the switch? The department ID or the department itself. So DPT. And the values you can supply, whatever values we are taking for this. So here I'm saying R&D, for example. And you know that you can fall through the cases. So don't say break. You combine all the cases which are valid. So one will be what? Let's say finance. So this is a fall through. So it is, I'm not breaking this at all. And let's say HR. Whatever values. Even if you give me 3, 4, it is fine. And one was marketing. So all of these. So here, when I don't mention, I hope you are adding the quotes and all that. So in this case, tell me, are these the valid department IDs or invalid? Simple question, simple answer. They are valid ones. So in this case, what you want to do is, you don't want to throw any custom exception. So simply say return department. And of course, you will have a compiler error, unreachable code. So remove it. Go systematically. Still, it is giving you compiler error because you have not taken care of this particular branch. We will do that in a minute. So understand and code. Don't just copy paste it. I mean, don't just because I'm writing, do that. So this is your fall through cases. So either when I see the beauty of switch casing, I don't have to say contains R&D or contains finance or whatever. Okay. So that way. So you're combining all these cases as the valid department names and returning that. So now tell me, if it is none of it, and when you come to default, what does it imply? Valid department ID or invalid department ID? Of course, it is invalid. So here you have to throw the custom exception. So here you can say, you know now the keywords. I told you, you will get used to it the moment you start coding. So throw new employee handling exception. See, I don't type the whole thing, so I finish faster. Start using IntelliSense, control space. And here you can simply say invalid department. You can give elaborate messages later. And of course, you will get a compiler error because once you say throw, the code cannot continue. So remove this break. And whenever you have a checked exception, compiler forces the handling. So tell me, you want to add throws or you want to handle it in a try-catch block? Answer is, we are delegating it via throws. So that remains constant. Throws, employee handling exception. So completed. I'll wait for you. You just have to now call it from the tester. And like somebody was suggesting, Yogesh, I guess, enum, but people don't know yet enum. I have not taken Java enums yet. So when I take it, this method will be, only this method will be affected. This method will change. But after we complete this. Do let me know whenever you complete this much. because all we have to do is, okay, people have done it already. Yeah, but I need more people saying done. Or opposite question, reverse question. Anyone wants me to wait? What I'll do is I'll share this. I'll keep sharing the method. Is this the method here? Till this. So that if you are having some problems in your code, you should not feel lost. You should not feel, what do you say, stuck. So I'll explain once again. You're passing that department ID from the tester. You're switch casing on the string. These are all the valid ones. So collect them. This is called as fall through cases. So whether it is R&D, finance, HR or marketing, in either of it, we are returning the department. In case it is something else, we are throwing the custom exception. Why we have removed break? Okay, if you say there was a question why I removed break, add the break and you will get a compiler error. It will tell you unreachable code. So tell me, when you say throw, can the control continue to the next line? Whoever was asking me, who was asking me, I'll just check from the chat. Rohit, here I have said I'm asking you. You are having a doubt, so I respond fast. If there is a throw keyword, if whenever you throw the exception, will the control continue to the next line? Answer is never. That is why. Try adding the break and you will understand my point. Somebody was saying uppercase and all. Will it work for uppercase, lowercase? No, it won't. So when I add Himanshu enum, we will take care of that. Okay. So currently we are writing it in a case sensitive manner. It is what to call that equals method. So it is very much case sensitive. Did you understand, Rohit, when I explained it to you? You give me a response whenever you understand or don't understand things. Not just Rohit, anyone. Okay, so does anyone want me to wait or have people written it? Can I continue? Anyone wants me to wait? I'm looking at your messages. If anyone says yeah, wait, majority, then of course I'll wait. Okay, so if you are saying continue, now go to the tester. And what is it you will have to add? Here, wherever you are reading. So after email, so keep track of the proper sequence. So here we were not doing any validation. So simply say validate. I hope you have said import static validation rules dot star. So now you'll have validate department and pass sc.next. Are you understanding how we are building it? Yeah, I'll wait here for a minute. You should not see any compiler errors. If you're going there systematically, of course it is a larger code, so wanted to do with me. I'll wait till you finish this. Okay, so people are saying, Vidhi is saying done. Getting the feel of it. So what all we have validated by now? First name, last name, email, and department ID. Okay. Can I continue to the next validation? Okay. So here, read the question. I mean, this. I am saying the join date should be after 1st of April 2021. So this is just a validation rule. See, the whole idea is to, revise or apply the understanding and all that. So this is the validation rule. So where are we going to add this validation rule? In which class we are going to add it? The name of the class itself is validation rules. Okay. So here, open the validation rules class and add a comment always. So add a static method. Pause here. Tell me. Here, so I'm because I want to write the comment, but with your understanding. So open your tester and tell me what is it we are doing in this highlighted code. Your choices are parsing, validating, both or neither. What is happening here? Only parsing. So I'm suggesting, why keep the code in two places? Let us do the parsing and validation right inside the method, so that my code will be, it will be very easy for us to write. I'll repeat the statement. I'm saying, instead of parsing here and validating in that method, can I parse as well as validate right from the method? Answer is yes. So let us do the reverse engineering. What is that reverse engineering? Remove this for a change. See, I'm just trying to, increase your level of Java development, or as a programmer, how do you think? What is the best call? So remove that. And here, let us write the method first. Let us call the method first, step back and write it. That is how we are going to do. So I'll say, I'll give the name also accordingly. So I'll say parse and validate. Validate what? Join date. You should write long method names enough to make the point clear. So after you give this name, parse and validate, you can have, I removed that n, parse and and is implicit, join date, and you simply pass from here the string form. And which two things will happen from the method? Answer is parsing also and validating also. Understood the point? The method name should be clear cut. Is the point clear? How we are going to do it is a separate one, but at least is the method declaration clear, and the job of it is it clear? Okay, so now what I would suggest is, you might make spelling mistakes. So please copy this method name, come to your validation rules, and we will add it here. So just store it somewhere and write the comment. It is those comments which will tell you after 2 days what we had done together. So add a static method for parsing as well as validating the join date. So for parsing and validation of join date. Right, don't be lazy. Write the comments, because otherwise you don't even understand your own code. And here, now start adding. So public static. Anyone wants to tell me? You take your time. I'm not in a hurry at all. What should be the return type of this method? Already I got the answer. See, guys, the moment you start thinking, the moment you start putting your concepts together, you understand. In goes the string and out comes the passed and validated date. Absolutely right. So make your date. But when you say date, you'll get a compiler error. So simply say control space. It will tell you, it will give you the option. So which one you want to import, java.util or java.sql? Choose java.util. If you want to type it yourself, go to the top of the file and say import java.util. Either way, I'm okay. And next question, what should be the input type, guys? What should be the input type? String. So it says parsing and conversion as well as validation. So I'm saying string and something, join date. So I'll wait here till you tell me that you are clear with the method declaration, and then writing it and all that is easy. You will let me know whenever you reach here. I'm waiting till then. Okay, some of you are saying, but I'll wait for more. I'll wait till at least I get 50 or some runs. Or other way, you can always tell me to wait. Anytime you feel you are lagging behind, I can wait for you. But you have to be open with me, that is it. Okay, so now you tell me, what is the first thing I should do? Parsing first or validating first? P or V? Some of you are saying validation. Guys, Okay, let me ask you. I'm not saying yes or no. Can you tell me how are you going to use this rule that a date should be the join date should be after 1st April 2021? What is it you are going to use for that? Exactly. You are going to use the date classes API. So in order to use that after method of the date class, first, of course, you have to convert. There is no such method in string. So first step is parsing, conversion from string to date. And once you have that date, then check if it is after 1st of April. So those who are saying validation, check it again. So first step is parsing. Sorry. What is the meaning of parsing? I say the same statement at least 20 times. So string to date conversion, right? So here I will write the left hand side. Give me the RHS date, let's say D1. RHS, please. Everything you know. I just want to hear it from you. Okay, so SDF dot parse join date. But if you say, guys, SDF, it will say which SDF doesn't know any SDF. So do you want to create the, yeah, so do you want to create a SDF all here, or do you want to import it from somewhere? Of course, imported. See now, see, look at yourself. The moment you start responding, start writing, your clarity increases. So do it. So import static, right? And where is that SDF declared? You know that in employee class, and I have made it public static, so I can access it. So give the fully qualified name of the class, com.app.core. See the IntelliSense. From that, employee, and say control space. It will tell you there's only one static member, so gives me that. Are you understanding the usage of import static? The convenience it causes. There's no concept, just a convenience. And come here, and then you will have SDF dot parse. And in goes the join date, out comes the date. Got it so far? Forget the compilers, everything we are going to fix. So just do step by step, and not because I'm telling you to do, with your own understanding. And if you don't understand something, like Rohit was asking, why we had to remove break, ask your questions, talk to me. But if you are done, tell me that, so that we don't become too late, we don't delay too much. Let me know once you have done this much. Okay, so some of you are saying done. So now there are compiler errors. So tell me, just take the cursor over this parse. I'm trying to help you about how to solve compiler errors. So they will be like a cakewalk for you, easy one. Unhandled exception of the type parse exception. And guys, look up, it tells you that there are fixes. So here it is telling you that this method, if you give the wrong form, may throw a parse exception. So age-old question. Do you want to add it in the try-catch block, or do you want to declare it in the, do you want to delegate it? Answer is delegation. So if you say, you know the keyword, so you can say throws, and which is the exception? Parse exception. So this tells the user means not end user, the one who is using our API. Who is calling this method? Tester. So this tells the caller that this method may raise parse exception. You got it? See, I'm saying everything I had said it in the exception handling, but you don't get the feel unless until you start using it, guys. So now tell me, if the control reaches the next line, what does it imply? Parsing is successful, validation is successful, both or neither. Always I'm talking in this. It indicates parsing is successful. Okay. So now what is the next step I want to do? Do you want to do this? I'm asking you. If you do this, what is it which I have not done? Validation is still not done. So definitely this is not the way we want to do it. So now parsing is successful. So now continue to validation. I'm writing elaborate comments so that you don't have to wait for recording. You just go through the code or that associated readmes or whatever, and you can recap everything. Okay, so now you know the rule. Somebody had already told me the method. So anyone wants to tell me, I have to call that after method. So here we'll check. Yeah, so let's see whether people are giving me. Okay, so if d1 dot after. So here, if d1 dot after, but guys, you forgot something. Okay, here I have to supply. What is the type of the argument I have to supply? Tell me. Is it a string or is it a date? It is a date. So you have to convert, you have to parse exactly. You have to parse that 1st of April 2021 first. Okay, hear me out. Somebody had given me the code. But I'm telling you, for this assignment, this date is fixed. So would you like to parse that? Saying, listen to this, I'll write something. Don't write it because I have a better suggestion, guys. Here, STF.parse, I can write. So you remember the pattern. Please open the pattern. Which is the pattern we have used? dd/mm/yy. So you have to put it same 1st of April. So 10/14/2021. But if you do this, how many times this method will be called? If I'm recruiting 100 employees. I'll repeat my question slowly. I said, how many times this line will be, this method parsing will be called for 100 employees? 100 times. So tell me, do you really need to call it 100 times or do you need to call it only once? Because I have hard coded this. Answer is once. So this is the thought, guys. This is the discussion you have to have. So here, don't do it. Will it not work? Of course it will work. But instead, you know the solution. Anything you want one copy, you mark it as static. So here, go ahead. Say public static. You can't make it final. So public static date, and you can say some date, or what is it? I'll call it as, I'm just looking for the name. So threshold date. Threshold means, you know, the level. So after that, we are taking the joinings. So here, add okay, actually it is not a constant, so I can give it as a normal. I was writing it as a this, so I just changed it, threshold date. And what is the best way to initialize static data members? Static initializer block. So this code, threshold date is equal to sdf.parse and that 1st of April 2021. You do it exactly once. Forget about the compiler error. We'll come to that. Did you understand my thinking? We are trying to, you know, optimize the performance. Why call that code 100 times when I can call it just once? So here I declared a date type of a variable with a variable name as threshold date. And here I'm calling it exactly once. Written this much with understanding. But now you have, when you fix one problem, you have another problem. So what is the problem here? Compiler forces the handling of your checked exception, which is a parse exception. So tell me, what is the solution here? Throws or try catch block? The answer is, see, here guys, it is so easy. Just click on it and it will give you the suggestion. Why it is only suggesting try catch? Because where can throws keyword appear? In method declaration or method definition? I'm asking you throws, method declaration. And tell me guys, is it a method or is it a static initializer block? It's a static initializer block, cannot add throws. So here, you don't have a choice. So I'll show you a shortcut. Just click on this, click on that red cross and accept the suggestion. And only thing is, I don't like to say everywhere e dot print stack trace. It's not standard. So here you give your error message, and you should write an error message which you will understand. So you can say error in static initializer block, and you also say which error. So I'll wait here for a minute till everyone means at least majority. Anyone who tells me to wait, I'll definitely wait for him or her. But if you don't tell me to wait, in 2-3 minutes, I'll continue. Anyway, finish this part. Take your time. And if you're not agreeing, if you're not agreeing means if you're not understanding that why she is doing it, she has an I, why I'm doing it in a particular manner, talk to me openly. I can always explain my thinking. And if you have a better suggestion, better idea, discuss that also with me. So then we will decide which is a better option and we'll go ahead with that. That is how a training should go, open, interactive. Okay, I'm still waiting for more of you saying done. Only 4 or 5 is not sufficient. Have you done it with understanding, guys, and not blindly? You understood my statement. Okay, so now we have got a threshold date. Now come down here and tell me, is it required now or can it be gone? Of course, it can be gone, and this will be replaced by your threshold date. I hope you are enjoying this interactive session because you get the concept also and you immediately apply it also. Are we understanding it? Try catch here. I have sent you this. Have I not? Guys, I'm sending you each and everything. See here. I'm sending you this again. I just modified that print stack trace to something simpler. Here, Rohit, I had sent you this earlier also. So when I send it on the chat, please take a look at it. So catch parse exception, and it had generated e.print stack trace. So that I replaced by a proper error message, a specific error message like this. Okay, so now come down here and complete. So some errors, Rishikesh, just in a minute, okay? I have not yet finished that validate date. So let me finish it. So if D1 is after that, tell me, if D1 is actually after 1st of April 2021, what should I do? Should I throw the exception or should I return the date? Tell me. I should return the date, right? So here, return. What is it we are going to return is D1. And what does D1 represent? D1 represents parsed and validated date. You got it? Rishikesh, we have not yet finished the code, so I could not send you. So now, if the control reaches here, anyone wants to tell me what has failed and what has worked? Parsing was successful, but here is the validation failure. So tell me, when there was a parse error, your JVM was throwing the exception, that parse exception. So now, in case of validation failure, who has to raise the custom exception? You, us as the programmer. So throw new, what was that? Employee handling exception. Just use the control space. Don't type too many things. And you can say invalid join date. Or you can give an elaborate message. The join date should be after this. And the last part, the moment you have your method has a checked exception, either you handle it, which we don't want to do. So can you have in the throws class only single exception or comma separated list of exception? Single or multiple? Answer is multiple. So add that comma and add employee handling exception. Guys, this tells you so many things regarding exception handling. Part 1, how you can add multiple such exceptions in the throws class. How do you parse a date and mention it here? How do you validate it? And in case of some failures, how do you throw the exception? Okay, so what I'm sending you guys is complete that class. Which class? Validation rules class. So whatever you have not completed, please open. Just a second. I'm in the middle of sending the code. Due to static initializer block, we had to use. This is not we had to use. I mentioned that. Okay, whoever asked the question, tell me, since it is a static initializer block, can you use a throws keyword here? Answer that question. Shubham was asking me. Answer me, Shubham. Answer is no. Why? Because throws keyword can appear where? Only in a method declaration. That is why, like you said, I had to go back to my try catch. Is my answer clear? Okay. So I had given you this whole code. Here, I have sent you the validation rules.java, the full code. Okay. So open that, download that, and refer to that. I'm waiting here for a minute, complete minute. And then we just have to call this method from the tester. I think we have already called it. I'm waiting here for a minute for all of you to sync up. Okay, very good, Yokesh. Let us wait for others also for another 2 minutes. And those who have done it, I hope you are understanding the flow, understanding what is the thinking involved and why we are doing it in a particular manner, not just blindly. Okay, I'm just waiting for another minute or so. I don't know, you are Swapnil, line number 68. So are you saying this line number 68? Is that so, Swapnil? Swapnil, I have sent you the entire validation rules. So check. Unreachable code means what? The control cannot reach here. So check your method. So date B1, first is the parsing. Here, check that if condition, there's no bracket and all, there is no curly brace and all that. So in case of correct, I mean, if the date is actually after 1st April 2021, return that. And here you don't require else or anything, simply throw. So just check your code. Swapnil, I have sent you the entire validation rules Java. So at least download that. Did you get it? I have sent you this, sent all of you the code. Okay. Yeah. At line number 63, I did not understand, Ankit. 63. Here. Guys, do little bit of effort on your own. I have shared my entire validation rules.java. So like Swapnil said, he had given after if a semicolon. So check syntactical errors on your own and check why it is coming. So see this. Have you this one? Who was it? Ankit, I guess. So here, after employee handling exception, check if there is an opening brace, curly brace. This is a closing brace. I'll send you this only this method once again. Actually, I need not do that since I have shared the whole thing. So anyway, so individual cases I can't handle collectively. That will happen in the lab session. Let's not waste time. So I'm suggesting Swapnil or anyone who is having the error still continue with coding with me, and later together we can look at your errors whenever we get time. So now come to the tester and check, have you called this method parse validate joinded sc.next? We are coming to the closing part of it, finishing part of it. So have you done this? Have you called this? Just confirm it once. We actually started with that. We did the reverse engineering. First, we called the method and then we wrote it. So if you have done it all right, And when you say, can you see the third button, save all? You should not have a single compiler error. But if you are getting little later, I mean, in the lab session, I can come and ask you to share your screen. Okay, so this is it. Now look at the next one. So I think we are done with everything else other than the salary based. I'm not given. I can always give you more rules that the minimum salary requirement is like, let's say 15K. So we can add that. So now the most interesting one is, I have not given this rule for this. So let us do the validation of employee ID. Okay. So what is the validation we require? You're not allowed to take any duplicates. You got me what I'm saying? So here, we are going to write a method soon, which is going to, like what do you say? It is going to check for duplication. And for this checking duplication, our equals method is already written. So now here, come here, and are you going to directly accept the employee ID or are you going to validate it first? Everyone knows that, validate. So what you do is simply, let's follow the same structure. So first let us call this method and we'll step back and then we will we'll write the implementation. So here you can say validate, or you can say check for duplicate, whatever you want. The meaning is the same. Validation involves checking for duplicates. So validate employee ID. And here, of course, you will have to pass the employee ID to it. So what should this method do? It will accept this employee ID and throw the exception in case of a duplicate. Or if there is no, this thing, what is it called? If there is no duplicate, then let it return the validated employee ID to the caller. Is the problem statement at least clear? Are you clear on this? So now, think a little bit, stretch yourself. Guys, don't struggle with your compiler errors. Stop working on compiler errors. This is really important. So who is calling whose method for which purpose? Tester is going to call validation rules method for checking for duplicate. So stretch little bit and tell me, passing only this argument is sufficient or you will have to pass something more? Answer is you will have to pass something more. So what is that more? Anyone wants to guess? Absolutely right, Yogesh. Yeah, so Pushkarish, all IDs for checking is not. Where is the information, guys? Where is that complete employee information? It is in employee array. But if you see, employee array is method local to the tester. In short, let me talk in simple English. Tell me, whenever we write this new method validation rules, will this employee array be directly accessible? It's a yes or no question. Of course not. So you will have to pass. And I hope you remember passing parameters in Java. Everything is passed by value. So we will be passing the array reference. That array reference will be copied and I can access the array from my validation rule directly. So this is little complex. That is why I had left it for the last thing. So do it with me. So here, where are we? Here. We have yet to write the method. So of course there will be compiler error. So don't ask me why there is compiler error. So first you are passing is employee ID. Make a comma here and add the additional argument. So my employee array variable name, reference variable name is EMPS. So now pause here for a minute. Don't worry about compiler. We have yet to write the method. So first type of argument is what? Primitive, int it is. And the second argument, what is the type of the second argument? Primitive type or reference type? P or R? Reference. Is it a class type of reference, array type of reference, or interface type of reference? Array. Somebody said class. Guys, EMPS is not a class. EMPS is an array. Okay, so correct your thinking. So here I'm saying I don't care whether it is a primitive type or whether it is an array, both are passed by value. Means what? A copy of this integer is going to be made, fine, and that is going to be passed, and copy of EMPS reference is going to be made. So that is the very important statement here. So now I would suggest, to keep your errors to the minimum, because otherwise you make spelling mistakes and then you lose a lot of time. Just copy this. Okay, copy it. And where are we going to write the method declaration? To validation rules. So you keep it somewhere here just for your reference. But I'm not allowing you to write a method without comment first. Comment will tell you what is it we want to achieve. So add a static method for what? For checking, to check for duplicate employee ID. And you know the statement, in case of duplicate employee ID, what is it you want to do? You want to throw the exception. Of course, custom exception, because Java doesn't understand that. So throw the custom exception. Otherwise, what is it you want to do is return validated. Validated means what? Non-duplicate employee ID to the caller. I'll send you the comment also, so that you can copy that comment if you want, or your choice, you can write it yourself. So because first you have to understand what we want to do, and then writing becomes so easy. So tell me if the comment makes sense. Is it making sense? You understand what we want? I did not understand, Abhijit, your question. So just wait for a while. Wait for a while. Don't go overboard. Wait. Is the comment clear or not? Tell me only that much. Is the comment clear to you? Okay. So now let's start arranging. So here, start public. The method we are wanting to make it static. Why? Because the caller can call it directly. So add static. Tell me what should be the return type. What should be the return type of the method? I'm taking you very gradually. So don't jump ahead at all and confuse yourself. Int. Everyone with me? Now tell me, are you seriously going to write as a method argument sc.nextend? No. So here, replace it. That is what I think Abhijit was saying. So here, int employee ID, give some variable name. You got me? And here, Java is a strongly typed language. Means what? You have to declare the type first and then comes the data member. So anyone wants to tell me, what will be the data type? What will be the type of EMPS? Anyone? Employee array. Absolutely correct. So here, add employee. So just keep a space here. See, I'm telling you very small things. I get a chance only when we are doing it parallelly. Simply say employee and control space. I'm just avoiding your typing. And now tell me, this variable name has to be EMPS or can it be anything? The method local variable name, of course, has to be, can be anything. So guys, don't confuse yourself. So give a proper name. This is that employee data. And I had done this on the 3rd or 4th day. I don't remember. Somewhere we discussed passing parameters. Everything is passed by value. Okay. So here, you remember what is it we have passed? Employee ID. So that is what I think Abhijit was saying, but I wanted him to wait. So this is where whenever you say sc.nextend, that value is copied into employee ID. And that was your first primitive parameter type. And anyone wants to tell me what will be the next assignment? EMP data is equal to it is also passed by value. So what is it? It will copy from EMP data is equal to EMPS. Absolutely right. So guys, recall your memory pictures and all. Earlier, visualize. I'm not going to draw memory picture and break the flow. Earlier, EMPS was a pointer to that employee array object. And what were the contents of employee array? All the references which was pointing to employee object. So abhi, what is happening now? So here, EMP data starts pointing to the same array. So I can go through it, I can iterate, I can find out, and I can nicely write it in a separate method. Is everyone clear so far? I'm not asking about how we are going to write the method. Of course, it will be based on equals, but this much is clear. Is the method declaration at least clear? Totally? Zero confusion? Because unless until declaration is clear, you can't write a method. So now add the method definition. I mean, curly braces, body. So now tell me, what is it you are going to use? How are you going to check for duplicates? Meaning, which is the method you want to call for checking or for identifying duplicates? Everyone should know the answer. Of course, equals. So the answer is you want to call employees equals. Agreeing with me? Are you all agreeing so far? Understanding so far? Okay. So now go to employee and come down and check what is the argument of this equals method, object type of a reference. So tell me, object is just the type of the reference, but what is it I'll have to actually pass from here? For that equals method, what is it I'll have to pass? Not clear? Not understood the question? I said, how are you going to call that equals method? You have to call it on employees equals. So what is the first thing you'll have to do? Yes, you'll have to convert it. You'll have to take the employee ID and create the object of it. So what is the only thing I have got from the user is employee ID. So tell me, is there any constructor which can take employee ID and give you the employee object? It's a Boolean question, yes or no. Answer is not yet. If you have added, I don't know. I have not added. See, I told you, don't just blindly write the code. So all we had added yesterday was all arguments constructor. But answer me, can we add overloaded constructors in the class? Of course, yes. So here, write a comment. Okay, write a comment on the top of it. This is your all arguments constructor to initialize complete state of employee. You should always tag it. You should always comment your code. Guys, in the lab exams, in the technical interviews, comments also carry the weightage. People actually check how many comments and not just, nonsensical comments, the meaningful comments you should add. So here you add a comment, add overloaded constructor to initialize. Are we adding or are we going to initialize all the members or only ID? Answer is employee ID. To initialize employee ID. And whether you write the constructor or whether you generate, I'm totally okay with that. I hope on the 10th day of Java, everyone is comfortable with the constructor at least. Are you? So you can write it. You should be able to write it in the kind of, middle of night kind of a thing. So if you're comfortable, don't waste your time at all. So source, generate constructor using fields, deselect all. And which is the one you want to select is employee ID. So select only employee ID, or if you want to write, you can write that much of the code also. So where it has generated, it generated this way. Just a second. I'm just putting it next to the comment. We are doing it in small steps. So I'll wait till you finish. So just confirm, have you added the overloaded constructor to initialize the employee ID? I'll wait. Done? Okay, great. So now come back to validation rules. So here, what is it we have to do is, You remember earlier when we had written, at least when I shown you, I had to make a Boolean flag found and all that. None of it will be required. See this. So let's start with your iteration for each. For each employee, employee E in, what will be the argument here? What will be the argument? E in what? EMP data, which is a copy of EMPS. So EMP data is pointing to the same array. So continue. So EMP data, and here, because the organization string, that array size could be 100 and you could only find 20 candidates. So what is sitting in those extra 80 slots, remaining 80 slots? Null values. So should I do the null checking? Of course, yes. So here, what is it we want to do is, if E is not equal to null, definitely do the null checking. Wait for collection framework. Your whole code is going to get simpler, because the same thing is going to be done, but by the collection framework, not us. You don't have to write so much code then. So anyway, continue. If E is not equal to null, now we forgot something. I'm sorry. I forgot something. See, here you have got employee ID. So create the employee reference and keep it ready. So here you can say employee, and I can call it as a new employee or whatever, equal to new, and tell me which constructor are we going to use? The ID based constructor or all args constructor? Which one are you going to use? All I have got is employee ID. So use that. And then we are checking the rest. So does anyone want to write the next line, line number 81? Type it out and let me see whether you are getting. If it is not equal to null, you just have to call the equals method. Call it. Done. Very good, then. So here, if it is not, if E dot, whether you say E dot equals new EMP or new EMP equals E, it has to be symmetric. We are just checking the IDs. So E dot equals, what is it you are going to check? New EMP. So tell me, if this returns true, what does it imply? Duplicate found or duplicate not found? Answer is duplicate found. And what is it you want to do in this case? Accept the employee ID or throw the custom exception? Answer is throw the custom exception. See, the code becomes so easy when you do this way. So throw new same exception, employee handling exception, and you can say duplicate employee ID. You know, you can give a meaningful, more detailed error message. See, it is the same discussion. I hope you have started realizing. So here, do you want to handle it or do you want to delegate? Answer is delegation, right? So here, throws. Because otherwise, so many try-catch blocks you have to write. Throws, employee handling exception. And now, if the control comes to the next line, see this. See the code. We are iterating over the entire array. We are checking if it is not equal to null. And if the equals method returns true, in employee classes equals method, that means duplicate ID has been found. So we are throwing the custom exception. The method aborts. But if the control comes to this line, what does it imply? Duplicate ID or non-duplicate? Distinct or duplicate. You understand the word? Distinct means non-duplicate. So what does it mean? If the control reaches after that, what does it imply? Duplicate ID or distinct ID? Answer is distinct. So here, no duplicate ID. So what are we supposed to do with that? Return that ID to the caller. So of course, I'm going to wait here till you say you are all clear. I'll send you this method along with the comment so that If anyone is having some compiler issues or whatever issues, they can sync up. I've sent you this method. Very good, Sumit. I hope you are appreciating. What is it you are supposed to appreciate? That see the clean coding. I'm not messing up. I'm not cluttering my case, whatever that switch case and all. In that case one, I'm writing all that as separate validation rules and everything. This is called as code refactoring. You know, don't write all the logic and repetitive logic in that casing. Just call these methods separately. So in the meantime, till I'm waiting for people, I'll explain the method to those who are not clear. So see, you should be very comfortable in writing the methods and calling them between two classes and all that. So here, tester is going to pass you the employee ID taken from user and all employee data, which is nothing but an array of references. Here, we are creating the employee. Why? Because my, this thing, what is it called? Equals method takes the argument of the object type. So in order to compare two employees, see the code. Equals is very important. So when you say this dot employee ID and the argument, can anyone tell me what is this and what is the argument? This is E, invoker, and new employee is the argument. So anytime you are iterating over the array, I'll draw the memory picture in the lab, or you draw the memory picture for this code. It will be so interesting. I'm checking because I could be having some nulls, and if I call a method on null, 100% you'll get a null pointer. Okay, so here if E equals new employee, that means I have found the match. And here then I can say throw new employee handling exception. I mean I'm throwing the exception, but if there is no match found, that means it is a new employee ID. So return the employee ID to the caller. So tell me, employee.java, employee.java, I had already sent you. I have not made any change in employee.java. So, oh yeah. So I have added the constructor. Are you talking about this, Saura? One this constructor I have simply added in employee. Okay. So generate the constructor with single argument. Okay. See this int employee ID. I just generated. So it says super. But even if you don't say super, it is fine. Initialize employee ID. Are we clear, Saurabh? Yes. So because space is the separator. This is an off-track question totally, we know. That has nothing to do with the employee ID. It has everything to do with the scanner. So if you have the space, if you say 1 space 23, where you actually wanted to say 123, it will be taken as two different tokens, 1 and 23. So if you want, you can change the delimiter. There is a method in the scanner class, use delimiter to maybe commas, and you can achieve whatever you want. Okay, so is this done? I want to wrap up this session. Have you typed this much? The for loop is not clear. Okay, here is the thing. Let's do it actually with some actual data. So here, suppose he asked me to repeat the for loop. So suppose you have got an employee data. It's an array. So I'm just writing it as an array notion. Suppose I have recruited E1, so a couple of employees I'm saying, E3, E4, E5. So 5 employees and rest all are the nulls. You understood, guys? What is it I'm saying here? Imagine we had drawn array of references. If you want, I can again draw it, but not in this time, in the lab time, afternoon time. So employee data is the copy of EMPS. Suppose you have these 5 references. So anyone wants to tell me, what is this E1 will be pointing to? Even it's just a pointer reference. What will it be pointing to? Answer fast. I don't want to delay your break. E1, E2, what will be they pointing to? Employee objects. Will the employee objects be in the array or only references would be there? Answer is references. It is array of references. So how many references are sitting there? There are 5 of them, suppose, and the remaining whatever 50, 10, 20 are all nulls. Everyone understood so far? Now actually, manually, hand compute the code. So now let us say, let me give you some more, even. So here, because otherwise you won't understand. So suppose E1's ID was 10. That in the bracket I'm writing only for your understanding. So this is your ID. E2's ID, let's say, was 1. I'm randomizing the whole thing because it is all unsorted. 100. See, I'm spending time here because this is a very important concept. And wait for a day, and you will see in collection framework, there is a directly method index of contains. And this is the internal, this is what they do internally. Anyway, let me not get distracted. Suppose this. Are you clear with my inputs? Employee E1, I'm so sorry. E1 is a pointer to employee object. And in that employee object, employee ID is 10. Similarly, E2's employee ID is 1, 100, 20, and 50. Okay, so now hand compute with me. Suppose the employee ID value given was, let's say, 100. Now start the discussion with me. You understanding? Are you understanding the inputs I'm giving you? Am I clear? Otherwise, there's no point in talking if you're not understanding. So here, now when you say for each employee in EMP data, start solving it. So first is E is equal to EMP data of 0. Means what? E will be copied. Which E is pointing to which object? The first one. And the first one has the ID of 10. So now tell me, is this going to be null? Is E equal to null? Answer, null or not null? Not null for the first one. And now tell me, now you say control click. So control click will get you here. So can anyone tell me which 2 employee IDs are going to be compared? Give me the values. What is going to be compared with what? 2 values, please. So in short, what will be the E.ID and what will be the new employee.id? 10 and 100. Yes. Is everyone clear? So tell me, is 10 equal to 100? Of course not. So what will this equals method return? True or false? What will this equals method return? False. So come back here. So here, if E dot equals new employee, this is returning false. So will it throw the exception or will it continue to the second iteration? Second iteration पे जाएगा या code या throw exception करेगा? Of course, it will go to the next iteration. Guys, this is how you understand Java, not Java, java.net anything. So abhi second iteration, right? So now tell me, which 2 employee ID values will be compared, guys? Tell me, what will be compared with what? Second iteration mein 1 and 100, same story. Okay, so is 1 equal to 100? Obviously not. So what will this method, employee classes equals method, kya return karega? False. So will it throw the exception? No. Now come to the third iteration and tell me, what will be compared with what? Which 2 employee IDs will be compared, guys? 100 and 100. 100 is equal to 100. So what will this method return? This is not, we are not calling objects equal. We are calling employees equals true. And then it will throw the exception. So rest of the loop is not looked at. Guys, the moment I get a duplicate, isn't it dumb? Isn't it stupid to continue with the iteration? Simply throw the exception and finish the job. Understood, Kunal? The whole working of the loop? Great. So now, suppose I say here, 101. You got that? Mute yourself. Somebody is unmuted. Okay. So here, if I change it to 101, now you do the iteration in your mind and tell me at the end of it, is it going to throw the duplicate found exception or is it going to return the employee ID? You work it out and you tell me. It is going to return. the employee ID, because 5 times, how many times? Okay, whatever may be the number of times, equals will be called. Every time equals is going to return false. You will say, how about null? You remember, in instance of checking, the moment it comes to null, what will it return? Will it return true or will it return false or will it break? Answer is, it will return false. If you have forgotten, open my readme regarding instance of and all. I have discussed it in points. So this is how you should refactor the code and keep it all separate. Okay. So now I think we have already called it from here. Are you understanding this? So I think we have finished all of the cases. There is another simplification, but currently I'm not doing that. So what you do, guys, what I'll do is I'll create a zip. We are having a break here, and you try and test it in the break. I'll do the testing after we resume. So let me just give you that. In case if you don't want my code, as in if you are developing on your own, don't even look at it. But if something is not working, refer to my code. I'm giving you the zip of it, and so that it can help you, and do little bit of testing please in the break, and then we will regroup. We will continue after the hours break. So I'm sending you day 9 lab. So do take a look at it. You got it? So when you do the testing, please test it with incorrect data, correct data and all, and check if the code is working in either of the cases. So this is where we are stopping for the first break, and we'll resume in 1 hour. So we'll start it around 11:05, 11:05 we will start. Okay, so that will be all. See you at 11:05.